All right, you guys, welcome back. Welcome back to our weekly live feed. We are live on YouTube and Instagram, not on Facebook, because our Facebook got hacked. Beautiful, right? I'll go into that in a minute. As you're logging on, say hello. Type in the comments, tell me where you're logging on from. If you're logging on Instagram, go on over to YouTube and watch it on there because you'll be able to see the screen shares, you'll be able to see the pictures and all of that. What's up from California? So as you guys are logging on, you'll notice the QR code over here in the corner. This is for CCTS 2025. We are coming out with our next launch of ticket sales. So if you do not have a ticket yet and you want one, you got to be on this webinar, okay? So the webinar is on Monday. It's at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday. So to get onto the webinar, all you got to do is scan this QR code right here and sign up. It's free. And I'll go into all the details about CCTS this year so that you'll have an idea of what it is if you've never been. Many of you guys know what it's all about. It's going to be a little bit different this year. We've got a new venue, all sorts of fun things this year to tell you guys about. It is our 10-year anniversary. Yeah, get your ticket now. It's our 10-year anniversary, guys. 10 years of CCTS. 10 years. We got Washington, we got Tampa, we got Maryland, we got Michigan, another California. Awesome. I love it. I love it. Wisconsin, all over the world, you guys. So today has been a cluster of a day. So our Facebook page got hacked this morning. Blessing in disguise is that we were not able to get our Instagram to link to our Facebook because of just a whole bunch of stuff. We've been trying for years to actually get the two linked, and they're not linked. So thankfully, because they're not linked, our Instagram is not affected. Only our Facebook page is affected. So what we were going to do is we're going to take that Facebook page and turn it into the Stage Ready by Sean. You know, as you know, we're switching all the branding over and all this kind of stuff. We don't want to lose all that juju, but essentially what happened is hacker went in and put a third-party app onto our Facebook page and was using our money to fund their ads. So we were able to remove the hacker, but we still do not have access to the page. We're trying to get access back. We will see. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. So at this point, don't interact with our Sean's Couture Cuties Facebook page. I did set up a new one with Stage Ready by Sean. So if you have not gone on there and liked that, followed that yet, please do. You can find it through my personal page. I'll also start kind of boosting that a little bit on Instagram and stuff too once we have a final resolution with our Sean's Couture Cuties Facebook page. But like I said, thankfully, we were never able to actually link our Instagram to our Facebook for whatever reason. Again, long story, but they were never able to be linked. So it was that part was a blessing in disguise. So with that said, you guys, make sure that you're following us here on Instagram. Make sure that you're following the new Facebook page, all of those things. We have so many cool things coming out for CCTS, including we are doing an app launch for CCTS this year, which we've never done before. We will have an actual event app for you guys. So it will be at your fingertips, all of the things that you need to know. So that's something else too. So you want to be on this webinar on Monday because we're going to go into all of this. We're going to tell you guys all about all of the perks and things like that are coming along with this year. So if you're not on the webinar list, that's what this QR code is right here. It's free. Just jump on and I'm going to go through all of the details for you. So that way, if you don't have a ticket yet, you know what you're getting when you're buying one, right? A lot of you guys already have tickets, which is awesome. So you guys got in on the early bird stuff. So we got Niagara Falls in here too. So awesome. So we are getting very, very close to the end of the qualification. Yeah, Samantha, those of you that already got your tickets, you guys were smart because you guys got the best prices possible. So it's going to be, we're doing it big for the 10th anniversary. We've got a new venue. I don't want to give away too much because it's going to be extra special and yeah, can't wait. Yay. So we're getting towards the end of Olympic qualifications series this year. We've got only a couple more weeks left. this past weekend in Nashville. I was there in person. How many of you guys that are here on the live feed actually watched me go live from Nashville? So I did go live from Nashville prejudging. Did not film the stage because they had their own live stream. So I sat in the front row with the camera on my face and just talked. I know several of you guys were on there live with me and commenting in and all of that too, which I thought was awesome. I love when you guys do that. It keeps the interaction going, all of that. But I said from prejudging, I said, listen, I personally had Adair winning from the back and Tamikia from the front. So I said, if they go with front shots, then Tamikia is going to win it. If they go with back shots, then Adair is going to win it. And then that actually held true for third and fourth place as well, because Nade took fourth, and I had her from the back, but I had Lauren from the front and third. So Lauren took third. So the two front shots in that top four actually did win, and the two, like, you know, as far as like 3 and 4 and 2 and 1. So they did go with front shots versus back shots, in my opinion, from what I saw sitting there, right? So saw a lot of posts, things like that. A lot of people agreed with the things I was saying, all of that. So, you know, it really could have gone either way with both of those sets of placings, just depending on what the judges decided to choose that day, right? So we're going to go through their photos. Yeah, so Samantha, that's exactly why I do that, because I really encourage you to buy the live stream from the show. That's why I don't film. I don't think they would have actually gotten mad at me if I filmed. They probably wouldn't have cared. But I don't do that anyway because I don't want to take money out of the promoter's pocket. I actually want to help boost their own live stream. So if you're ever at a show, or if I'm ever at a show and there's a show live stream, get the live stream, watch that, and follow along with me, like talking, right? Then you get the best of both worlds. And then, you know, again, you get to support the shows, things like that as well, right? So we're going to go through the top 5 for Nashville, and then we're going to go into previewing the shows for this coming weekend, because again, there's 3. There's 3 shows for this coming weekend with, you know, Olympic qualifications on the line and things like that too. We're getting very tight on these qualifications. So let's go ahead. We're going to start by going through our Nashville top 5. And I'll be the first one to say this was an incredibly competitive show. Okay. Outside of Pittsburgh, this was probably the most competitive show of the year. Pittsburgh was, you know, 14 deep with Olympians. This one was 12 deep with Olympians and top 5 placing people. So it was a very, very deep show all the way down, I would say, till 4th call out. It was really, you know, very, very deep. So we saw Gianna Moore come back and came back in a great way. She ended up in 5th place. I think she may be the only one in the actual IFBB who can get away with this black suit. And personally, I still think she should do color. I believe that her feedback from Becky actually said she is the only one in the entire IFBB right now Bikini that can get away with a black suit. I think it looks great on her. However, I would love to see her in a bright pop of color. I think that would really be helpful for her. Now, she hasn't been on stage in a while, so there's a few things that she did here that were a little bit better, I think, than the last time that she was on stage. One of those things being, to me, her legs looked a little bit streamlined, which was good. She needed to do that. Gave her a little bit better shape overall. I felt like her waistline was quite a bit tighter. She tends to have a very blocky, and I don't mean, like, she's not thick-waisted, but it's like muscularity-wise, she was very thick in the waistline, and she's not anymore. She's got a much better V-taper here. Just overall, I felt like her taper into her waistline from her shoulders was a lot better. I felt like her conditioning was really, really good. The overall look and presence and polish was very, very good here. She's always going to be one of those ones that's going to have a hard time because she's just built a little bit thicker through the waistline. But I think she's doing a very good job of molding that. I think she just needs to keep going and needs to keep doing the same thing she's been doing, really. Let's take a look at her back shot. So from the back, here we go. This was probably the best I've seen her from the back as far as pop and balance is concerned. Really good conditioning here, a really good projection on the glutes too. Again, she streamlined her legs quite a bit, in my opinion. Brought them down quite a bit. Just looks really well balanced. To me, this looks like a really well balanced frame in comparison to where she used to be, right? Still needs to kind of tweak the shape a little bit, like I mentioned, but in general, she's going in the right direction. And one of the things I would probably do is she looks a little bit tight up here in the back. So just relax that back and open it up a little, and that would actually help balance her from top to bottom. I think she pinched off a little bit in the upper back. If she let that open up, I think that would help. Because again, she has a little bit more muscularity on the bottom. And Becky says black suit's fine on her, and she can wear it. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, she's the only one that can get away with it. That's what I'm saying. That was exactly Becky's words. She actually put that into a Facebook group. But you know, with that said, like I said here with the back, I'd like to see her back open up. And again, going back to the black suit, I would just like to see color on her. Me personally, I would like to see color on her. I think it would just pop her better. But you know, again, improved package. She's got a few genetic things she's going to have to work hard to fight against some of these girls that are just genetically blessed. You know what I mean? But if she hits the right show, she could definitely win a show. It's just a matter of hitting the right one. Next in line, we have Nade. So this was her first time back in a while. I felt like she was a little timid at prejudging with her posing and everything like that too. She seemed like she was a little bit nervous and scared to be up there. I did talk to her prior to prejudging and after prejudging too, and that's exactly what she said. She said, you know, it was difficult getting back up on stage. You know, she was a lot more confident at finals. So if you guys watched finals, she posed a whole lot better at finals. I think she was just, you know, again, kind of that first show back jitters. Posing wise, I'd like to see her open up this front pose a little bit more. Now, she has a teeny tiny little waistline. She really does. So if she was to open this up, probably open this foot up, this toe up a little bit, and just kind of pull her chest up and open a little bit more confident, I think that would make this whole front pose pop on her a whole lot better. Because I think against Lauren, who took third, I think this is where she fell short, was with her front pose. Because I think her back pose was actually really very good. Out of the whole lineup, I think she was top two in her back pose, to be honest with you. So I think where she fell short again was in the front pose. Some of that was a confidence factor. Some of that was a nerves factor. Some of that was just getting it back, you know, getting back on stage, all of that. The other thing with her is that she was just soaking up the glaze. Like, I know, because I was sitting there. I mean, and you know, her coach is my coach, and they glazed her 3 times, and her skin was just soaking that glaze up. So she didn't look like she had any glaze on, didn't look like she had any pop, when she really did. So for finals, she came back and they had put on a new like gel glaze on her that really made it stand out, made her look like she had better projection back there. Because without the glaze, it made her look a little bit softer when she wasn't. It was just the lack of shine, lack of sheen there. But I do think that again, she had one of the top 2 back poses in this lineup, to be honest, and it just didn't pop well enough for whatever reason. She kept soaking up that glaze. But where she kind of fell short in this lineup was the confidence aspect in that front pose. But I now that she's back, and like I said, after doing doing her posing at finals, it was like a different person on stage at finals. So I think she found her groove. I think she got her confidence back. And I expect to see her be a force to be reckoned with going forward now that she's back. Next, we have Lauren. So Lauren did take third. And again, I mentioned with Lauren, I felt like she won from the front between the two, between her and Nade. And then Nade won from the back. So the one thing that I think Lauren has to be careful of, I mentioned this last week too, is she's borderline figure here. Like, she's got a lot of width in that upper body. She's got a lot of muscularity in that upper body. If I was her, I would tone down this pose. This pose looks a little bit too figure for me. I just relax that upper body a little bit. Let that lat just kind of relax. Let the arm relax down. Let the shoulder round out so that you don't look so wide up top. Now, I believe she's doing this so that she can make her waistline look smaller. So I understand that the thought behind it, but you got to find a good balance. So I think that's the one thing that's kind of holding her. I would change about this front pose and just relax that a little bit so you don't look too broad through that upper body there. Conditioning looked pretty much the same as what she had the week before, which also got her top 5 placing the week before. From the back, let me pull this up. Here we go. From the back, she was a touch fuller through the glutes. So last week when we looked at her, we saw really deep separation in her glute and hamstring center there. It's still there. She still got that deep separation, but to me, it looked a little bit fuller here at Nashville than it did the week prior. So I think she went in the right direction with this, but I do still think it's a little bit too much. I think she needs to add some more glutes. I think her legs are okay where they are. I think she just needs some more glutes to kind of balance herself out. And same thing here that we talked about with Liana, she's kind of pinching up top, which is interesting because from the front, she's not pinching at all. From the back, she is. So I'd like to see her, again, just kind of relax that upper body. Now, she may be pinching so that she doesn't have an overpowering upper body, but I still just want to see it relaxed. It doesn't mean she has to spread it open, but I do want to see her relax here. In general, I thought this was a touch fuller than last week, so I would say this package was just a touch better than last week. She just got to, I would say, grow some more glutes, really. And then we had Adair in second. So, I really was okay with either Adair or Tamikia taking this show because I felt like Adair won it from the back and Tamikia won it from the front. And not that Adair did anything wrong here. It's just Tamikia's waistline is just ridiculous. So when you put Adair up there, I mean, by herself, she looks phenomenal, tight, tiny waistline, great conditioning. Everything about this shot is pretty much spot on. It's just really hard when you're next to somebody like Tamikia who has a -0 size waist. You know what I mean? That was it. I don't think that Adair did anything wrong here. I think she actually brought in her best package I've ever seen. I just think when you're comparing bodies, it's hard when you start talking about the genetics and how people are put together. So I think Tamikia is just put together with that tight and tiny little waistline. That's it. But when we looked at the backside with Adair, I felt like Adair's glutes were better. I felt like Adair had better conditioning. I felt like Adair had better balance, better fullness, better density, everything from the back. So I did feel like Adair won it from the back. And again, Tamikia from the front. There's nothing here I would change on this back pose. I think she did everything correctly. I don't think there was anything wrong with it. Again, I would have had her winning the show from the back. Photos I'm over on YouTube. There's no photo sharing. There's no screen sharing on Instagram. So going to Tamikia. So Tamikia did win this. And again, going from between the two of these girls, I had Tamikia from the front and Adair from the back. So I've said that 15 times already. So why isn't this showing? There we go. Okay, there we go. So here's her front pose. Spot on. The only thing that I would change here is her suit top. That suit top was really, really wide through the center. We see a lot of clavicle here, a lot of breastbone, all of that. I just want to see that pushed together a little bit. Now, this may be an issue with her actual breast and actually pushing together, but to me, the suit top was just too wide open in the front. I don't know if maybe that means getting a little bit of a bigger top or what, but she needs to pull it in a little bit because it's a little bit distracting there. Other than that, there's nothing else I would change here. I do like the blue suit. I haven't seen the yellow one in person, so I can't really comment if I would like the yellow one or the blue one better in person. But I thought the blue was beautiful on her as far as the color was concerned. And then when we get her to the back, the same thing that I mentioned from the week prior, and why she lost to Isa is just she needs more density in her glutes. She had the same issue here that she had in Texas. It just squished a little bit when she turned the transitions. And actually, if you listen, Tyler did his wrap up, and that's exactly what he said about her. So Tyler did his wrap up over the weekend and gave the exact same feedback that I said on my live feed. Just saying. So she just needs to add some more glutes, add a little bit more size, a little bit more density to the glutes, and then she'll be really, really hard to beat when she gets there with that. So, again, either way, congratulations to Tamikia. I think that she definitely deserves to go to the Olympia. So I'm curious to see what she's going to do between now and then. Probably try to fill that density out a little bit. That's what I would imagine. And then we'll see how that plays out for her when she gets to the Olympia. No, not NPC News Online. It's my YouTube channel, Sean's Couture. So that was Nashville. Really, really good show. Really well run. I love going to that show every single year. So it's a lot of fun having an all-female show. I can't say as I disagree with any of the results, you know. So let's go into what we've got going on this coming week. So we've got 3 different shows this week. Let's do, which one do you guys want to do first? I'm looking at, let's do Phoenix first. Yeah, let's do Phoenix first. Yeah. So we've got Rising Phoenix. And I wanted to do real quick on the fitness. I just wanted to give Andrea a shout out because she'll be competing this weekend, and she's one of our cuties this weekend, top contender, Olympian athlete in fitness. So I wanted to give her a quick little shout out here. I know we don't really preview fitness, but I wanted to give her a shout out because clearly she's going to be one of our girls on stage. So good luck to Andrea. So here's our list for Bikini. Yeah, Tamiki has a wow factor, absolutely. It's a pretty long list, and now that I'm looking at it, I feel like I might have missed a couple of names. So as I go through the ones that I pulled, type into the comments if there's somebody on here that you want to see. Now, we do have some people on here that are masters because we have bikini masters as well. So we got bikini women masters over 40. So there are a few names on this list. Now that I'm looking at it, I think I should have pulled up, but I didn't. So let's go through who I did pull up. Let's see if I missed somebody. Okay. So go ahead and type into the comments if there's somebody that's top 5 that you want to see. So clearly Adair. We just talked about Adair a second ago. So she would be one of your front runners going to the show for sure, on that list. Probably, I would say probably the top contender going into this, right, would be Adair, right? And then we've got Lizzie, who has placed top 5s. She just placed 4th in Chicago, so she's definitely one to be paying attention to for sure. We've talked about her several times. She has yet to crack that win yet, but she tends to get to that first call out, usually towards the top. So she's one to definitely be watching here as well. Then, of course, Nade, we just talked about Nade. Now, she just placed 4th, so she's definitely one to be watching. And she's, like I just mentioned a second ago, she's got her confidence now. So I think going into this show, that's going to bode well for her. Then we are going to go to Lisa. So I wanted to mention this too because we talked about Lisa last week because she did Texas. And again, I wanted to mention her because Tyler talked about her in his wrap-up that he just put out as well. And did anybody watch that wrap-up? Because I did. And guess what he talked about? He talked about her hair. He talked about how her hair was a problem. He said that her posing still could use some work. Her presentation still could use some work, just like we talked about on our wrap-up here. But he also said we can only judge what we can see. And she wore her hair too long, and it covered her glutes. So let's pull up a back shot so you guys can see. Ta-da! Glutes are covered by the hair. Tyler said it on his wrap-up. Okay, we talked about it here. We talked about it here first, but Tyler was judging it, so that my video just came out first. So I just saying, there is a method to this madness. So I can be a little bit harsh on people sometimes. I know that. I was a little harsh on Lisa when we were doing this wrap-up last week, I believe, but for good reason. That was her feedback. Her feedback was that her hair was too long and it covered her glutes. And Tyler said, we can only judge what we can see. If you can't see the glutes, you can't judge them. And he said this was probably the best look that she's put on stage so far. So, simple things, guys. Simple things make a difference. Her hair made a difference in this show. Okay? So, that said, she's going to be somebody to be watching at this show. She's going to be somebody to be paying attention to, and she's going to be somebody that you're going to have to, hopefully she's going to fix these things. Now, Chantel was mentioned. Yes, she's one that as I was looking at the list, I realized I should have pulled her up and I didn't. Where did I just go? Because she was the one that popped out to me as soon as I pulled up the list. I was like, oh, I missed her. So let's go ahead and put her in. Here we go. So she hasn't competed since April. So it's been a little bit. But she's had a couple of top fives or first call outs, that kind of thing. She's been competing for a while. So she's one to pay attention to as well. We'll see what she ends up looking like. It's been a good amount of time off stage. So she could have made some decent improvements here. For sure, somebody to be paying attention to in this show. Is there anybody else? Is there anybody else that I missed? Anybody else on this list that I missed when I was looking through these names? There's several girls on this list that I'm looking at right now that have competed, but haven't gotten top fives or anything like that. So Michelle Hurst has been competing for the last couple of years still. So she hasn't been on stage since the Masters Olympia, I believe. I believe she's taken some time off. But she's consistently winning Masters over 40. She used to be a powerhouse in the Open. She still does pretty decent in the Open. I would say she tends to land towards the middle of that second call out in Open. So she still does pretty well. Oh, actually, you know what? I think she competed in Charlotte, now that I'm remembering, because I was there and I believe she competed in Charlotte. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure she was there. Anybody else I missed on this lineup? I don't think so. I think I got everybody. Well, good luck on your pro debut. But I think I got everybody else on here that have done top fives. I'm pretty sure. So let's move over to that one here. Let's go to Klash. Okay. So while this show is small, we got some big names in this one, right? So right off the jump, we got Yulia. So Yulia's coming back. She's competed a lot this year. She is a previous Olympian. She's one of our cuties. Again, one of the girls that I work with here. So we're crossing our fingers and toes for Yulia that she can come out with a win here. We got to get her qualified for the Olympia, you know? So, yeah, Marty looked great. Marty looked great. She did. So she's definitely one to be watching here. I'm hoping for a win here. I'm guessing she's going to be at least in the top two. Crossing our fingers, like I said, crossing our fingers and toes that we can get a win for her. Next up, I pulled up Kiki. So Kiki has not placed top five, but she was in that first call out at Nashville. So I wanted to bring her up and talk about her a little bit too. And I want to give her some kudos because I gave her some pretty harsh feedback, not gonna lie, and she took it like a champ. So I'm excited to see what she does coming into this show because her physique has come leaps and bounds, and I think if she can fix a few little details, it'll make a world of difference for her. Because I was actually really surprised, like her physique looked really, really good in Nashville, and I would have, barring a couple of details, I would have had her actually placed higher. So I'm excited to see what she does here at this show. I just want to give her a little bit of props there because she did look phenomenal in Nashville. And then Jessica, while she didn't place well here in Nashville, that's an anomaly for her. She is a top fiver consistently. She has been to the Olympia. She's won a show, all of that. Her feedback was to fill her legs out. Her legs got too stringy. So she'll be coming into the show, I'm sure, with a lot fuller legs. So she's definitely still one to not count out for sure. So be paying attention to her too. And then we have Ashley Hampton, who again has been placing top five, has been to the Olympia, all of that. So she is absolutely one to be watching. This show had a ton of pictures. I was going to see if I could find a front shot real quick, but it's going to take, you're going to have to go through 15 pages of pictures to get to a front shot. Here we go. So she's another one that has been placing very well. Again, previous Olympian, so she's definitely one to be watching. I'm curious to see how she looks at this show. Tends to be on a little bit more of the muscular side, so we'll see how that plays for her here. And then we have Jordan coming back. So Jordan has not competed since the Olympia. We all saw her get prepping and stuff like that. She hasn't been doing a ton of updates. She's been pretty quiet, but she hasn't been on stage all year. So I would say she's probably a front runner going into it because she was top 10 at the Olympia. But she hasn't been on stage all year, so we don't know what she's going to bring. So I'm curious to see what she looks like this coming weekend for sure. But I would say she's probably your front runner coming into this show. And then we have Sierra, who again, previous Olympian, has not qualified yet this year, tends to be top 5. Her last show, this show, she was what, 8th? She was 8th in this show. So this was a little lower on the end for her as far as placing is concerned. But she's always a contender towards the top in this show, in these shows as well. So we have a lot of girls here in this lineup that again are not Olympia qualified, but have been in the past. So it's going to be a fight, right? So it's going to be a fight. Even though this is one of the smaller lists, it's one of the more competitive ones. So go ahead and type into the comments. Tell me who you think is going to come out the winner here. Who do you think is going to walk away with this? Again, I believe coming out of this, your front runner is Jordan. That would be your front runner. Behind her, I put Yulia. So I think it's going to come down to Yulia and Jordan. I think Ashley Hampton could be there in that top 3 as well. And then probably Sierra in that 4th place. But again, I'm not sure because she was 7th or 8th the last show she was in. So, that puts her in the kind of the same ranking as Jessica as well. So I would say your top 3 are going to be your Yulia, Ashley, and Jordan, and then the rest of them, there's some space, there's some room for people, right? There's some room for people to kind of move up into that. So what do you guys think? While I'm waiting for the comments to come in, we'll flip over to Tokyo. Yeah, I think the smart money would be on Jordan for sure. But as we know, anything can happen at these shows, right? Anything can happen at these shows. All right, so we're going to flip over to Tokyo. So, we typically don't talk about these Asian shows because we don't have a whole lot of competitive people in them typically, like people that we know. But this show we do. Right? So we have Stine. I don't know. People have pronounced it different every time, and I've been told how to pronounce it, but I've heard it 15 times different ways. So I apologize. I'm probably saying her name wrong, but she is Olympia qualified, and she's been Olympia qualified in the past. So she is already qualified. So she is one to be watching here, right? So I don't know if she's going to take home the win. This will be an interesting look for her because she typically only really competes in Europe. So I'm curious to see what she looks like here in Japan. But she's definitely one to be paying attention to for sure. Then we have Ashley. So the last time Ashley was in Japan was when I competed in Japan, and she did take the title there. So clearly she would be your front runner going in for sure, front runner. But that doesn't necessarily mean that she's going to win. She's had a defeat this year, right? So this is not a in the bag kind of show for her. Again, she's going to be a front runner. She's clearly always going to be a front runner going in, but she's not unbeatable. So we'll see. We have Yume. So she has been placing well all year as well. Not won anything yet, but again, she is placing top 5s. She just placed what? She was 7th, 4th, 7th, 3rd. So she's knocking on that door, right? Beautiful girl. This could be it for her. We'll see. And then we have Jibin Park. Again, top 5 are here. So she's one to be paying attention to as well. So again, looking at this Tokyo show, we've got previous Olympians on here. We've got current qualified Olympians on here. So this is a competitive show. Is there anybody that I'm missing? Alexandria Band. Why do I know that name? Yeah, I mean, again, smart money would be on Ashley. Smart money would be on Ashley, but she's not unbeatable. She's not unbeatable. Nobody is. Nobody's unbeatable. Everybody's beatable. So this could go to somebody that's an underdog. It could go to somebody that we don't even know, right? It could go to somebody we're not even talking about. But what do you guys think? Who do you got for this show? What are your thoughts for this show? I will say, competing in Japan was probably one of the best experiences. It was by far the best show experience I have ever had competing, ever, by far. So I don't blame people for wanting to go and compete in Japan, for sure. She is an Olympian. See, I recognized the name, but I didn't know if she was actually an Olympian or not. So as I'm sitting here looking at the list again, I realized that I recognized her name. She was thin, right? Yeah, that's okay. I remember her now. Yep. She won in Australia, but hasn't competed here, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, she got qualified. I'm looking at her. They must have spelled her name wrong because her history here on NBC News is very truncated. So they must have spelled her name differently. Yeah, she was in the Olympia this past year, but she clearly just needs some size, Yeah, it's always exciting when we see an underdog win, for sure. For sure. And yeah, I knew, to be honest with you, I knew Jamie was coaching her. I didn't know if she still was. I don't keep up with, Jamie's my coach, but I don't keep up with all of her clients. So I knew she was coaching her at one point. I just didn't know if she was still coaching her or not. So yeah, she just needs some size. Great shape, clearly great shape, great look, just needs some size. So she's one to pay attention to as well. But yeah, so again, I think that your smart money in this show would be Ashley, just like we talked about with Jordan, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to win. Ashley's been beaten twice this year. Jordan hasn't been on stage yet, and she does tend to have a little bit of an issue with coming in conditioned for her first show back. So, if that's not the case for her, then this might not be, that might not be a win for her. It's not an automatic thing for anyone. It's not an automatic thing for anyone. Anybody could come out and take it, right? So it's going to be an exciting weekend regardless. We should have a couple more people qualify for the Olympia, maybe 3 more people. We'll see. In the meantime, for those of you that are just joining us or that have been watching tonight, QR code up here in the corners for CCTS 2025. We have started announcing speakers. We have announced that Vanya will be coming this year. So Vanya is the the UK Arnold champ. For those of you that don't know Vanya, you should. She's been to Olympia a couple of times and placed very well last year, and is kind of a rising star, that kind of thing. She's been grinding her way to the top, and she's a phenomenal posing coach as well. So we are bringing her in as a featured speaker for CCTS 2025. She's one of many. We did just announce her today. So yeah, if you are interested at all in coming to CCTS 2025 this year and have not gotten your ticket yet, this free webinar right here, this QR code, that's where you need to go, okay? It's free. Just go and watch and listen and find out what it's all about. It's on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this coming week. You'll see me. You'll see my beautiful face in front of you like you see me right now. So Well, there's a lot of things that make it different in Japan. I mean, that just technology wise, they're leaps and bounds ahead of everybody. That's the first thing. Second thing is they love bodybuilding. So like I've never been to a bodybuilding show where it was as packed as it was in Japan. From wall to wall, back to front, it was packed, and they were screaming like it was an actual sporting event. Like I've never seen people actually scream at a bodybuilding show before. But yeah, it was like they were yelling for a football team. It was pretty freaking cool. Like yeah, it was pretty cool. Um, oh, awesome! I'm glad you're coming this year. That's fantastic. This is our 10th year. You gotta come. This is our big 10-year anniversary. And like I said, when you come on that webinar, we're going to talk about some of the new stuff we're doing this year. The new venue. We got a fantastic new venue. Can't wait to share. So I'm excited about the whole thing. So make sure that you're there on Monday. Make sure you're there. Bring your friends. It's a girls' weekend, all girls, no guys. So leave the husbands and boyfriends at home, and the kids. Leave the kids at home too. So, but with that, I think that'll wrap it up for this evening. Hope you guys have all been doing great. As I was mentioning before at the beginning of this, our Facebook page has been hacked, so just don't interact with it. That's all. They're not doing anything malicious with it. They hacked it in order to get access to our PayPal and our credit card accounts that were linked to it. So, yeah, that was fun watching those charges come in. Yeah, they're paying for their ads through us. Fun times. No big deal. Gotta love technology. With that said, you guys, like I said, I did start up a new Facebook page with Stage Ready by Sean. We're going to have to do that anyway, flip it over anyway. So we might as well do that now because we're kind of forced to at this point. So hopefully we'll be able to recover the access to the Facebook page. We did get the hackers off it, so at least there's that. It's just at this point, we don't have access to actually anything on the page. So, unfortunately, it is what it is. We'll figure it out one way or another. Can't keep a good guy down, right? What is this? What is it saying? Can't keep a good dog down? I don't even know. I don't know. Can't keep a good man down? I don't know what it is. You guys know what I mean. With that, I'm a little loopy. It's been a day, you guys. It's been a day. And I still got to go get more steps in. And I got to eat too. The life of a competitor, you guys know. So we are going to have Behind the Bikini this week as well. We're going to shoot on Thursday, so be ready for that upload on Thursday, and get on the webinar on Monday for CCTS, and hopefully we'll see you there this year. Like I said, 10-year anniversary. So with that, have a fantastic evening. Let's see how this weekend plays out. We're getting real close to that cutoff for Olympia. So let's see who qualifies.